If solving quadratic equations confuse you, this video will help you. Let's start by solving this quadratic equation. We should factorize first. And to factorize, if you don't remember how to factorize quadratic expression, please watch this video on the top right hand side of your screen. You will learn how to factorize quadratic expression. Let's start. First, find two factors of 6 that multiply to give 6 and add to give 5. So two numbers that multiply to give you 6. So they are 2 multiplied by 3. Also, these factors should add to give you 5, and 5 is the coefficient of x. Therefore, 5, 2 add 3 is 5. Therefore, your factors, they are 2 and 3. 2 goes in your bracket and 3 goes in your bracket as well. So we have factorized the quadratic equation first, and then we are going to solve. So that's the next step. Solve the quadratic equation. And in order to solve this equation, we're going to equate x add 2 to 0 and x add 3 to 0. So let's do it again. X add 2 gives 0 and x add 3 gives 0. Then we solve. Remember, to solve this equation, you should undo your add 2, and the reverse of add 2 is subtract 2. And remember to subtract 2 from your left hand side of the equation and also the right hand side of the equation. Therefore, x is minus 2. And then let's solve this part of the equation. X add 3 is equal to 0. And to reverse the last operation done to x, we have to reverse add 3, and the reverse of add 3 is minus 3. Therefore, we minus 3 from the left hand side of the equation and minus 3 from the right hand side of the equation. Hence, x is now equal to minus 3. So these are our solution. X equal minus 2 and x equal minus 3. Other names that you might see is root, the roots of the equation. So the roots of the equation, they are x is equal to minus 2 and x is equal to minus 3. So three words that you might hear: solution, answer, and roots of the equation. They're just asking for you to solve for x. Okay, pause the video and give this question a try. Okay, let's check our answer. Let's start. Remember, factorize first in order to solve. So here we have 14. We need two factors of 14 that multiply to give you 14 and add to give you 9. So let's look on our constant 14. So our two factors, 2 and 7. 2 multiplied by 7 is 14, and 2 add 7 is 9. So remember, two numbers that multiply to give 14 should be factors of 14, and those factors should add to give you 9. the coefficient of x, the number multiplying our x. So here they are, 2 and 7. 2 goes in your first bracket, 7 goes in your second bracket. So we have just factorized. So let's do the next part, which is solving that quadratic now. So here again, x add 2 is equal to 0, and x add 7 is equal to 0. Now let's solve by undoing the last operation that was done to x. So here we have x add 2, and the reverse of add 2 is take away 2. And if you take away 2 on the left-hand side of the equation, you have to take away 2 on the right-hand side of the equation as well. Therefore, x is equal to minus 2, and let's solve the next part of the equation. X add 7 is equal to 0. Again, undo the last operation done to x, and here we have x add 7. The last operation is add 7. Let's undo add 7, and the reverse of add 7 is take away 7. And if we take away 7 from the left-hand side of the equation, we have to take away 7 from the right-hand side of the equation as well. Therefore, x equals negative 7. So here we go. These are our solution. X equal minus 2 and x equal minus 7. Again, the roots of the equation, they are minus 2 and minus 7. You can do your substitution in order to check your answer. If step 2 solving part of this question confuse you, please click on the video on the right, and this will show you how to solve linear equation. Okay, stay with us as we look on more challenging question. Okay, here we go. Let's factorize first. So we need two factors of 6 that multiply to give us 6 and add to give negative 5. Okay, so let's start. 6, so that is minus 2 multiplied by minus 3. That will give us a positive 6. And remember, those two factors should also add to give minus 5. So minus 5. And that is minus 2 add minus 3 is minus 5. So in the first bracket, we will have minus 2, and in the second bracket, we will have minus 3. Okay, and then we solve. Again, x minus 2 is equal to 0, and x minus 3 is equal to 0. Again, undo our minus 2 here, and the reverse of minus 2 is add 2, and then we add 2 on the other side of the equation as well. Therefore, x will be equal to positive 2. And then let's solve the next part of x minus 3 being equal to 0. Again, undo the last operation done to x, and the last operation done to x here is minus 3. And the reverse of minus 3 is add 3. So we add 3 on the left-hand side of the equation and add 3 on the right-hand side of the equation as well. Now x is equal to 3. And those are our solution, x being 2 and x being 3. So the roots of our equation, they are x being equal to 2 and x being equal to 3. How about trying this question on the right? You can pause the video and give it a go. Okay, let's check our answer. Step 1, factorize your quadratic. So let's start by finding two factors of minus 5 that multiply to give us minus 5. So two factors of negative 5 that multiply to give us negative 5 and add to give us positive 4. Okay, so let's start with our constant minus 5. And then minus 1 multiplied by 5 will give us minus 5. So remember, a negative multiplied by a positive will give you a negative. Therefore, negative 1 multiplied by 5 will give you negative 5. Also, remember, when you add these factors, you should get the coefficient of x. And the coefficient of x is 4. Okay, so minus 1, that's negative 1, add 5 is 4. Therefore, our factors are negative 1 and 5. So negative 1 go in your first bracket and positive 5 goes in your second bracket. So we have just factorized our quadratic equation. Now it's time to do step 2, and it is to solve. Okay, so x minus 1 is equal to 0, and x add 5 is also equal to 0. Now let's undo the last operation done to x. So here we have x, subtract 1, and the reverse of subtracting is adding. So add 1 to both sides of the equation. And minus 1, add 1 is 0, 0 add 1 is 1. Therefore, x equals 1. Let's do this side. Undo the last operation done to x. So here we have x add 5, and the reverse of add 5 is subtract 5. And remember, subtract 5 from your left hand side of the equation, and you also have to subtract 5 from the right hand side of the equation as well. Hence, x is equal to minus 5. And these are our solution for this quadratic equation, x being equal to 1 and x being equal to minus 5. Again, solutions or roots of this equation, they are x being equal to 1 or x being equal to minus 5. If this video helped, please like, share, and subscribe. Again, thanks for watching and stay tuned for the next video.